Good day, everybody. Welcome to the new subscribers. It's so amazing that you guys are joining me, especially in this journey about discovering who you really are. Because we truly are divine beings and we are designed to be divine. So I'm really, really happy that you're here this week where we're going to be talking about mental viruses. I was listening to someone speaking about that and I thought, I gave it more thought and I really, really realized there's such connotation between toxic thoughts and mental viruses. Now we know what toxic thoughts are, all thoughts that don't align with you as a divine being, anything that doesn't make you feel like you want to explode and have this fullness of joy in your life. But I was thinking of how can I help you to know, to be more aware of mental viruses? Now, just like a program on a computer, when it gets a virus, it actually distorts the whole computer program and you have to be rebooted and you have to reinstall all the new programs to make it run properly. Yet we as lovely people, lovely divine beings, just accept these viruses that come our way. For instance, we just love to and feel settled when somebody diagnoses us with something, which is still an illusion and not really the true you. For example, I have used this example before when my son collapsed and he was unconscious for a while. And the doctors did tests, and the one doctor is a neurologist, and he kept saying to my husband, oh, it looks like epilepsy because you have epilepsy in your family. And I had a choice what to accept and what and do I just accept a virus like that because that is the virus. Does it make me feel better knowing my son could have epilepsy? Because if I then come in alignment with that illusion because of a symptom, I actually strengthen the energy behind that belief that something is true, where it's just actually an illusion. We are discovering more and more what you align with strengthens your belief in a certain thing, which then grows, which then creates more of the more you focus on something, the more it settles that belief system for you. So what happened was the one day I had to then go have a MRT. I don't know what you call it in other countries. In Germany, you need an MRT. That's like a better scan than an EKG or IKG. I don't know what you call it, but we call it an EKG. And after we had that done, I stood in the kitchen the one day and I just kind of stopped myself because I started worrying about whether my son would have to take tablets for the rest of his life. And I just stopped and I said to God, what do you say? What is your diagnosis? And he said to me, my son is healed. My son is perfect. My son is in the fullness of health. And I thought, okay, well, which one do I like better? And I thought, okay, God, I take yours. Seriously? Because he is God, the God of the universe. And doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that I didn't have these other voices that want to say, no, but this cannot be. I just settled it. I made a choice. I settled it in my heart. So we then had to go to some specialist. What was amazing, what happened, a guy that specializes in children because he was still a bit younger. And you know what this guy did was so amazing. This just doesn't happen in Germany. He sat in front of me, he took the CD, he didn't even look at the MRT scans, and he said to me, Mrs. Lonser, if your son is still okay in 6 months, act like it never happened. So I said, okay, I can take that, and off I went. And you know, my son is nearly 19 today, and that was 10 years ago, and nothing came from it. Now, everything is a process, and we all learn from every experience. So that just grounded something for me and so many things that came after that. That is truly, what am I buying into? Now, when we talk about mental viruses, I'm talking about if someone tells you something is fact when it's actually illusion. So we know that we are made up of 99.99% spirit, 0.0001% matter. If you look at the quantum model, a quantum atom is mostly space. So basically everything you think you are standing on, or it's moving energy, it's all energy. It's just a lower form of energy that looks like matter. We call it matter, okay? So be able to change things, or be able to change things in your life, you need to, like I spoke about last week, you need to be on this frequency and live from a frequency of rest, peace, love, to be able to change matter, which is a lower form of energy. That's probably why we don't see angels unless we're in the higher frequency. God is in all, but he functions in higher frequency to lower frequency. So you cannot shift things from matter to matter. If you're trying to fix things, you cannot do it from matter to matter. Sometimes you'll have a bit of success, but it will never be eternal, long lasting. You need to come from high energy, spirit, love, rest, peace, to matter, to shift things in your world. Then nothing is impossible. And that's why we have to be aware of mental viruses. Let me give you another example of a mental virus. Someone says to you, or they talk about, I've used this example before, menopause, and they carry on talking about menopause. When you're 50, you're going to have menopause. And these are the symptoms. And what happens? You don't even realize this, but because you're not guarding your heart all the time, or you're not aware that you should guard your heart, you kind of take these things in. You don't consciously take it, and subconsciously you're taking these things. And then you turn 50, and all of a sudden you start getting all these symptoms. That doesn't mean you are not changing in your physical body a bit. And menopause isn't like a negative word. They made it into a negative word. But most people then go into a negative symptomatic state, or they turn 60 and they say, oh, like my parents-in-law, and they don't even realize they're doing it. So it's not like I'm speaking bad about them, but it's just to give you an example. They speak and say things like, oh, I'm getting old, I don't need to do that. Oh, I'm too old for this. I'm too old for this. Oh, I'm forgetting things constantly. Oh, look, my knee is sore. I better go to the doctor, because this is a typical age where your knees start caving in. I don't need to learn anything anymore because I'm old. So this whole constant discussion of old, that's mental virus, because, as a scientist have proved to us, our DNA has a strand at the end of the DNA. It's called a excuse me, because I'm not a scientist, I will say that a lot of time. And that strand is there. It's an eternal strand. And what happens through stress and mental virus, and the thinking, and not really living in the thinking, God's thinking, what happens is that little strand becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and the body responds, and that it becomes mortal. That is actually an immortal strand. It's quite amazing, isn't it? You can go look it up. It's called the immortal strand, immortal gene. Okay, you can go and check it for yourself. Mostly don't believe anything I say. Turn it into your experience. Turn around these things I say and use them to benefit you and your life, and start practicing them. And then you can also be an example for those who are around you. So to get back to mental viruses, like I said, you end up in a consciousness where everybody starts accepting. I've written this in my Facebook posts as well, where people just are accepting the status quo of certain age, you have a certain thing, okay? And it's normal. If you run outside and you don't have your jersey on and you keep on running outside, you will catch flu. We start accepting that nonsense. It doesn't, we start accepting so many things, and we start becoming aware. The way to reprogram yourself is just to become aware. That is reprogramming. Just become aware of your thoughts, of what you're thinking. Is it aligning with high frequency? Is it aligning with life? Is it aligning with abundance? Is it aligning with supernatural you as natural you. You know, supernatural is actually the way we should be living, like St. Omer wrote in his book. So if you see a dog flying, why do we think it's weird? When a dog barks, we don't think it's weird, because we have become so so used to limited life. So let's what if we just surrender everything we think is real, okay, to all the open possibilities around us in this field, this quantum field, the dimensional fields of heaven, of everything around us, with the angels and, you know, the cloud of witness, and, you know, the seven spirits of God, and everybody's there to help us. Why don't we tune into letting them assist us into living this extraordinary life we are meant to live, the resurrected life in the fullness, the abundance, the extraordinary, the fabulous, the amazing you, not the one that was programmed into believing something else. And I see so many people are stepping into this and start realizing, oh my gosh, there's truly this amazing a world we were born to live from, which is the kingdom within to the kingdom without, that we come one as we bring what we believe, start being an example for those around us. It will affect cultures, because it's not just about you and something you want to manifest, and it's great, but you're going to affect cultures, your family, everybody, your town, your city, your country, for the better. So I'll leave you with that. Let's not depend on anything else. Let's not depend on governments to help us. Let's not depend on what the government is doing to what I'm meaning to say. Let's not think the government must be a certain way for us to flourish and prosper and change culture. Truth always wins. Truth always, or it has already succeeded. Let's live in from it is done. And I want to encourage you, inspire you today. Do this and keep on doing this. And as you practice, as you keep your mind busy with this stuff, if you keep on just living in possibilities through the challenges, you know, the challenges are there for you to step back and say, wow, I get to do this. I was speaking to one lady the other day, one of my clients, who's actually become a friend now as well, a dear friend. And she said, oh, I hate it when somebody tells me what to do. And all I could think of is, wow, you know, you get to do this. Nobody forces you in any way. You get to. It's such a privilege. You get to be an overcomer, be a victor, and see it from everything that you see as a problem before, see it as a challenge for you to be a victor in. You already are, you already have been. So see it from as done, as I said before. So until next week, have an awesome week from a lovely Germany, from a Germany that's got so much potential, even through lockdown, even through chaos. We are changing that status quo into victory. Mwah. Goodbye.